Hey everybody, Arnaldo here, broadcasting from Fidelio's Frequency. Welcome to my channel. It is that time of the year again, and I'm talking about Record Store Day. This upcoming Saturday, April 12th, 2025, is Record Store Day, the official Record Store Day worldwide, the day that many of you wake up early to line up in front of your favorite indie record store to buy some releases that are very exclusive, very limited, and I have a batch of 7. I was lucky enough to get advanced copies of these records, which I'd like to show you. So a much shorter video than the one that I made last year. So this one will go a little bit quicker, but let's get started. So I'd like to start off with what the folks at Record Store Day think is probably the most important release. They call it the Record Store Day Song of the Year. And I'm talking about George Harrison's Be Here Now, which is presented here on this double A-side 12-inch, let's call it, with side A, the original mix of George Harrison's version of Be Here Now, probably my favorite track on his album, Living in the Material World, and on the B-side, a track that was only available up till now only digitally, and we're talking about Beck's version of Be Here Now, which is pretty amazing, and it is on, I don't want to call it the flip side or the B side, it's on the double A side or the AA side, and it is a double-sided 12-inch single at 45 RPM, cut by, I believe, Chris Bellman. Sounds fantastic. It is on black vinyl, and I think you want to grab this one because I don't know, especially for the Be Here Now version by Beck, if it will be released on physical format in the near future or ever. So this is one to look out for on Record Store Day. So George Harrison has not one, but 2 releases out this year on Record Store Day. And it is a very interesting one, very beautiful one, an album that is probably one of the best, the finest of his solo career. And we're talking about All Things Must Pass. But this version is quite unique because it is a Zoetrope version. And it comes in a very nice trifold, almost book-like format with the die-cut sleeves. And I'll post a video showing what these Zoetrope discs look like when they're spinning. Very interesting that they included also a little instruction on how to view it. I was never very successful in using these instructions and setting the frame rate, the frame per second rate on my iPhone. I've had better luck with an app that's called Illumiscope, and it allows you to better gauge the brightness and the frame per second rate. So if you buy this, I would recommend downloading the free Illumiscope app to view it in its full glory. But check out the detailed video on my channel as well that will be dropping soon to see how these beautiful Zoetrope discs look when they're spinning. So from one Zoetrope disc to another, it seems like in the last 2 years, Zoetrope is, can we call it a gimmick or the trend, or it's all the rage now in the vinyl community, creating these discs that look different when you spin them and view them under the appropriate app, because they create these really very cool images like live motion videos. And the next one is Duran. Duran's Danse Macabre came out Halloween of 2023. In 2024, this past Halloween, there was an expanded super deluxe edition of Danse Macabre with additional songs. And those songs, that box set, by the way, is sold out, goes for ridiculously crazy prices now, but it had the exclusive bonus LP, which finally, and many lucky fans that missed out on that edition, are able to buy now in the Zoetrope edition. It's basically, as you see here, the extra tracks that were previously only available on the box set and the excellent at least in my opinion, version of ELO's Evil Woman, their reworking of New Moon on Monday, and I think it's called New Moon Dark Phase, and then the cover of the Halloween classic called Spooky with the brides of Duracula. And the B-side has, as I mentioned earlier, I have a very detailed unboxing video of the Danse Macabre. The B-side is mostly composed of very atmospheric, Halloweenish instrumentals. So lucky fans will be able to get this now finally on Zoetrope disc, the lucky fans who weren't able to get it first time around in the box set. Next up is a release that was never before available on vinyl. When it came out, it was only available, of course, digitally and on CD. And I'm talking about the first time vinyl release of Dolores O'Riordan, No Baggage, her second solo album. Last year on Record Store Day, we got a release on vinyl of her first solo album. I believe also that was a first time on vinyl. And this year we get her second one. I think No Baggage is a much stronger effort. I liked her first album, but I really love her second solo album. Interestingly enough, it has a reworking of Apple of My Eye, which was a song that was also on the first album, now reworked with a new producer, and I think it really shines on her second album. Dolores O'Riordan, for those of you who don't know, singer who tragically passed away way too soon, singer of the Cranberries. And we have it here on a really beautiful violet or purple translucent, really nicely done with the artwork, inner sleeve and everything. And I have to say, like all the releases that I've spoken about earlier and that I will be speaking about afterwards, they all sound fantastic. The vinyl quality is excellent. Really good job on these pressings and this one especially. So Dolores O'Riordan, No Baggage. The next release is definitely for diehard fans of this band, synth pop group, very successful, hugely successful around the time 84, 85. And I'm talking about the Thompson Twins. And this release captures their probably their most commercially successful album, Into the Gap, but performed live in Los Angeles. I believe it was Los Angeles, Del Mar Racetrack in California in 1984. This is the first ever release of the audio component of this performance. It was only available previously in 1985 on VHS format, but never saw a audio release, and this is the standalone first audio release, spread across two albums, a yellow one as well as a blue one. And I have to tell you, they must have been huge in the United States at the time. I was not here. I didn't experience the phenomenon because the roars and the applause in between songs, maybe it's augmented, maybe it's enhanced, but it is huge. Of course, they perform almost the entirety of Into the Gap, the album, as well as a few tracks from their first album. Into the Gap was I believe, their second album. Lies, 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 and Love on Your Side are featured from their first album. So definitely diehard fans of Thompson Twins, you might want to grab this one. First time ever released on in any audio format, and of course on vinyl. Over the years, it seems like Record Store Day is the time that all of these artists and labels love to put out picture discs, Zoetrope discs, and most importantly, live albums. So after one live album that I just spoke about with Thompson Twins, here we have another live album, which is fantastic. I was looking forward to it. I have seen him live quite a few times. I'm a huge fan. You probably know that from my channel. Huge Smiths fan, huge Johnny Marr fan, and we finally get Look Out Live, Johnny Marr live on 2 records. It is his performance that was actually captured on April 12th, 2024 at London's Hammersmith Apollo. Exactly to the date Anniversary sees its physical release on vinyl. spread across 2 albums, like I said, and on orange vinyl. Beautiful packaging, nice heavy cardstock inner sleeves, high gloss, even the gatefold is beautiful. But more importantly, he really rocks on this album. If you haven't seen Johnny Marr, I know there's probably a lot of Johnny Marr haters. All of the Morrissey diehard lovers really sometimes take sides. So Morrissey lovers will be on Morrissey's side, saying he's the only one who can sing Smith songs. But Johnny Marr does a fine job singing some of these Smiths covers. I believe there's 8 or maybe 6. And he's so confident. He's not afraid to sing them. He sings them pretty darn well. Especially, there are versions of Smith songs on here that you have to listen to. The way Johnny Marr plays How Soon Is Now and his band play it, sorry, but Morrissey's band doesn't really live up to it. Yes, they do a good job, but no one plays it like Johnny Marr. A beautiful extended version of Please, Please, Please Let Me Get What I Want, one of my favorite Smith songs. In addition to the Smith songs and some of the finest solo Johnny Marr tracks, there are 2 songs from his side project from the early 90s. Was it early 90s? Electronic with Bernard Sumner from New Order, and Get the Message is on here, as well as Getting Away With It. And on that song, the original singer was Neil Tennant from the Pet Shop Boys. He made a special appearance in the show, singing brilliantly on that song, as well as a cover of David Bowie's Rebel Rebel. So this is a fine, very enjoyable. I love it. I'm very partial to Johnny Marr, so this was for me is a no-brainer. But if you're curious about how Johnny Marr plays the Smith songs on his own, definitely grab this, totally worth it. So Record Store Day, as I mentioned before, is known for Zoetropes. We covered that. Live albums, we covered that. Finally, picture discs, and I have one for you. They are probably the premier band of hair metal, talking about Mötley Crüe. And I actually really like this image that they used for the picture disc of Smokin' in the Boys' Room. Look at that. The makeup, the hair, the outfits. Just, can you be any more over the top? Glam metal, is that what they were called? Glam hair metal, whatever. Smokin' in the Boys' Room. It was not an original Mötley Crüe song. It was Brownsville Station, I believe from 1973. So this picture disc has on one side, Smokin' in the Boys' Room, the Mötley Crüe version. And on the flip side, we have Home Sweet Home, their power ballad, iconic power ballad. So Mötley Crüe's, look at that, Smokin' in the Boys' Room. So that was a quite short one, and I hope you enjoyed it. Hope I showed you something that you're interested in, or maybe that you had doubts about. That kind of wraps it up for this year's video, at least the preview video of Record Store Day 2025. I may do another video of what I eventually grabbed on the day, the proper day of Record Store Day, which is this coming Saturday. Mark your calendars, April 12th, 2025. Thank you so much for watching. As usual, don't forget to click like, comment, subscribe, dislike, all that stuff. I'll see you on the next video. That's it for today. Bye.